Here's something you don't see every day. This is a coach, and behind me is a load of entrepreneurs and business owners getting on that coach. And I'm going to take them around my businesses to show you how I bought them, why I bought them, how I financed them, and then they're going to Q&A me all day on all the juicy gossip, and you're going to get to watch it all. How do I get out of them? I live by a formula called E plus M equals S. So entrepreneurship plus management equals success. So they have a process where they've put leadership and management as two separate things. And most business owners try and do both. And if anyone's listened to my stuff, it's the school analogy I always use. If the business owner tries and teaches the kids the management stuff and do the leadership, the head teacher stuff, they'll never get anything done. When I buy a business, I'm into it for the first year, and then I'm weaning myself off, and I'm looking for the best quality management to run it. And it is my experience, it's much easier to put management operational people into a business than it is to find someone that can generate income for the business. And so if the business owner is focusing on income generating tasks, they'll have all the cash flow coming in to be able to afford the management. I think building my own business first definitely taught me lots of things. As long as they're building businesses with employees, as long as you've had a good number of employees, I don't think you're really knowledgeable enough until you've built a team. You know, everyone tries to outsource and get freelancers. No, you need the pressure of payroll. You need the pressure of making sure you meet it and learning all that stuff so that when you buy businesses, it's much easier. You know, like we pay off about $1 million of capital a year as a business off our commercial portfolio. So at the end of that year, you've paid off $1 million, and then it's probably grown another $1 million in value. To buy another warehouse for £1 million and say you need a 300 grand deposit, you've already paid off that this year, so you just go again and again. It's getting the first few over the line, and you have to use all your entrepreneurial rigor to get the first one, which I did, you know. So the first one, Barclays, when I was 27, I just asked them, I said, can I pay the deposit over 5 years? The deposit was on 5 years, and the rest of the term was on 20 years. So by the time I got to the end of the 5 years, I bought that for 700 grand. It's probably worth 3.5 million now. And I think if you ask 20 banks, one of them will say yes. Would I do that for investment property? No. But because I was trading that business, I was in that business, I could make the P&L happen, then that's why I would do that. This is stage one. Now we're going to get on the coach, and we're going to go and see some property investment stuff. These sorts of things that we're about to say, I literally love. This is good, high yielding commercial property. That new sign printed out ourselves. So we own all this. Yeah, it's, I think how many, 15 units here, 16 tenants, plus the yards. We put the yards in. I mean, put a yard in. I think we was getting like £800 a month for that yard. You ain't doing this with houses, gang. Now, there's a couple of reasons why I like doing commercial property, not just business, is because if something happens to me, I believe my family could look after something like this much easier than a trading business. I've been explaining to the entrepreneurs and business owners that are with me why this is a good investment. It's got 15 separate units on it. So if 1 or 2 units go empty, that means you're still bringing in income, which is much safer for early commercial property investment. You're keeping all the rateable values low, so the business rates are really low, and you're always looking for added value. How can you add value to property? Well, over here I've got a big plot of land where I've got permission to put 22 more units on. That's going to immediately increase the value of the site, and you've just hold on to them for a good number of years. The value just outstrips buy-to-let property by a country mile. The trick is finding the things. That is very difficult to do. Most banks don't like stuff like this. They were on the verge of giving me the money to do this, and then COVID hit, and then I had the deposit, so I just said, look, the bank said no because of COVID. How about I give you the deposit and then I pay for the unit on a private mortgage? And they said yes. So I think I gave them 400-ish thousand deposit, and then I just paid the rest, and then the rental pays for this. I'm about to now take them out with the bank because we've had it nearly 4 years, haven't we? Or 3 years? Yeah, we've had it 3 years, so it's gone up in value because of getting all the permission on the jungle over there for the units. That increases the value of the site, so it'll be worth at least 2 million now, this site. How do we get this deal? We'll just ask the question. I'm never embarrassed to say, look, can we do it, structure it like this? They'll probably say no 9 times out of 10, but 1 in every 10 they say yes. The question was, do I look for one specific area? We're selling a property in Manchester. I don't want anything that me and Trace can't really drive to. If you go across the country, you can find deals and yields and much better stuff, but actually I've just got a bit lazy with it. I've got enough business stuff going on now. I just want to be within an hour and a half's drive time. Do you know, when you're buying businesses and a lot of people just have lost the will for their thing. You have to put a bit of effort in. We've got our own bleeding Zoopla account, so we post on community groups about property that might come up for rent. We don't really use estate agent. If we got time, we'll show you a block of flats we bought in Southend. I mean, we literally find all the tenants ourselves, or Tracy does all that. I mean, it's the royal we. Tracy does it all. But yeah, we don't use estate agents now. That's why we're selling the thing we're selling in Manchester, because we just want to do it all ourselves. We've got enough volume to do it. And we're halfway through the coach day now. We've just stopped here at the beautiful Blue Boar in Malden. The team are upstairs, they're having some lunch. They've just done a grilling Q&A. They keep on asking me, how do you do these deals? Why do you buy these deals? How do you finance these deals? What are the pitfalls? I've really enjoyed answering the questions so people can swipe and deploy those nuggets of knowledge into their business. It's profit we call contribution. So all of the businesses have a profit contribution that goes to a loss-making head office, and they have a budget. And so all of the different 17 companies go to this loss-making head office because it doesn't generate any income, and all the contributions have to be bigger than what this costs to run. Most people that have chain businesses like us, that's how you should operate it. So say you had 20 Domino's franchisees, each shop wouldn't make a profit, would make a contribution, say 100,000 per shop. And then in the middle, you would have the delivery drivers, the marketing team, the accountant, and they would all be contributing to that. We've always run it like that. So the nurseries have a head office team, and so they would all be contributing to the nursery's head office, or try and move them within a different department if they're not happy. If we have someone that's got the right attitude, but we've put them into the wrong role, we have done that. That's our fault. We will try and rehouse them within the organisation. We'll pay people off if we think we've made the mistake, because having toxic people within the organisation, it is cheaper to get rid of them. I know that goes against everything that a frugal business owner should have, but the detriment to the business can be much worse. We don't do that very often though, because we hire slow. Anyone that comes up into my senior team, they've worked their way through the ranks literally every time. No, I expect to find one great, amazing person a year, and then you just got to hold on to them. I mean, I went and saw a food wholesale business about 3 months ago, and there was two reasons. I wanted to buy it, but I also wanted to learn how they operated. Wow. You've got a business owner that wants to sell their thing. They're telling you everything, who they buy from, what they spend on stuff. You know, they're telling you all this knowledge. It's better than any consultancy you can get. And I nicked probably 20 ideas from there and popped it into Rossi Food Services and Rossi Ice Cream that I'd learned from him. Even down to the basics about the vans he used. Said, oh, we use all these box vans. We use panel vans for like freezer, fridge vehicles. I said, why do you use them? Oh, they never crash them. We've learned that. I went, why? He said, well, they're wider, aren't they? They're boxy, they're slightly lifted from the ground. We just learned every time you have a panel van, they just crash. I went, yeah, we crash ours all the time. That is what we do. We just ripped one off actually 2 weeks beforehand. He said, people are very much careful with box fans. I went, yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. Literally, I've ordered 3 of them within 2 weeks, and now they're all here, and that's what we're using. Because I went and saw that business, you know, that is like direct from business owner, trialed, experienced into my business. And I did offer to buy the business, but he wanted too much for it. I said to him, I'd give him whatever, he wanted another to 1.5 million over I was prepared to pay. So I'd say, Lave, off you go, mate. That's not for me. On to the next one. Yeah, it's all coming down now, so we're back in the game. And this business, last year we spent £330,000 on containers. This year, bringing in the same containers is going to be 33 grand. So, all this inflation stuff is leaving us. We're getting, shipping is the big one because we're an importing country. Everyone goes to me on my videos, you're an idiot, why don't you make it in the UK? No one wants to make this stuff. You barely find someone to make a cup of coffee in Costa. They don't want to do that. They're not going to sit and make teddy bears, are they? We're an importing country, so is Germany, so is France, and the whole of Europe. and America. So where shipping prices are coming down, if you could get 10 sofas on a 40-foot high cube and that cost you £20,000 and now it's only £1,200, you know, prices of sofa and material, you know, that's all starting to come down. Coffee, it was 20 grand a container, it's now 1,200 quid. It's the third biggest commodity in the world. You're going to see coffee and food coming down. But the problem is we're holding stock that we bought at that higher container price. So it's going to take a year to work through the system. Another stop on the big bus, we've just been to the Rossi Ice Cream Factory. I showed the team how we make ice cream, talked to them about our food services business, doing more vertical integration into the business. Also showed them Teletastic and how we're shipping products in from the Far East, from multiple countries around the world, and how we sell them and how we find customers. They were asking me loads of good questions about that. It's now back on the coach and we're off to the Rossi Ice Cream Parlour to get an ice cream. What a day! We're here at the Rossi Ice Cream Parlour now. Everyone's getting a little taste of our ice cream. Look at that. 40 people on a coach having a free ice cream. That's what you get when you come to one of my events. I mean, even today on a weekday at 3 o'clock, as you can see, there were always people in there. And a quiet day, that place takes £2,500 up to £8,000 a day on very high gross profit. Oh, on ice cream, we do 80% GP. Direct to consumer. So yeah, it costs about 35p and you sell it for close to £3. Anyone that, you know, restaurants selling hot food is a tough gig. That is hard to make money out of. Say you were serving 40 people hot food and they were spending a tenner a head. The profit on serving 40 ice creams at £3 a head would still outweigh the amount you would keep out of that. You would keep more out of the £3 than the £10 on hot food via serving ice creams. It's a really, really tough to make restaurants work. The overheads, the staffing costs, just makes it very difficult. You know, I don't believe that. I think business rates and VAT is disgustingly high, and it's business rates stops, you know, the person building their business on their kitchen table. They go, right, yeah, I'm doing all right. I'm going to employ someone and I'm going to take on a premises, and they look at the cost and they go, actually, stuff it, I'll stay on the kitchen table, and that is just stifling growth. We'll be back at Marsh Farm in a few minutes. Safe travels home. Make sure you press subscribe on the YouTube channel. Listen to the podcast. If you haven't applied to be on the podcast, then you absolutely should. We had one person come on my podcast about 3 weeks ago, and he messaged me, he said, James, I've had 8 leads from coming on your podcast within a week. You know, if you want to get your business exposed to tens of thousands of people, get on that bleeding podcast. I mean, we're getting more listeners than ever before. It's growing every single month. So, you know, do take that opportunity. Thanks very much. Hope you had a lovely day. I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you, James.
Thank you very much. Big thanks to Trace for organising everything. I'll take all the glory. It's all her, really.